The comments and views expressed on The More Show are those of the people that make them and do not necessarily reflect the view of Kevin Moore, The More Show, or this radio station and its affiliate or sponsors. This show is for entertainment purposes only.
Broadcasting from the UK and across the world online. You're now watching The More Show and I'm your host, Kevin Moore. Now for the next hour, I'll be covering subjects that will open up your mind and provide you with information you may have never heard before. Now on today's show, I'm about to be joined with my guest, Jannecke Øinæs. Now Jannecke is the host of the successful talk show, Wisdom from North. Now she shares a passion for the deeper meanings of life and to help awaken people and shift their consciousness to become their greatest version. Jannecke Øinæs, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor being here.
It's beautiful to have you on. It really is. And this interview sort of come, well, for me, there's so much going on in my life right now, right, that I've just, not had time to stand still. And when I got your message that you were coming on today, I was like, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'm so grateful that it has. And you waited a few minutes just to wait for me just to get ready. So appreciation for that, because I know right now as well that you're going through a lot, and we don't have to talk about it too much, but I know there's a lot in your life going on right now as well, so I appreciate you giving your energy to come on when that's happening in your life right now as well.
Yeah, I love your show, and I wanted to keep this interview, and I just got home from South Africa yesterday. So I thought we could do this, and yes, of course, it's been 3 hard weeks, and for people who don't know it, my father was in an accident 3 weeks ago, and I flew down to South Africa to be with him, and we flew him home yesterday. So I just got home, and I'm trying to start my life again.
I can imagine. Well, that's the best news ever that he's back in your home country. That's really, really good news. That's just perfect. And I suppose, when anything like this happens, it really shakes one up. It really shakes us up to our core, doesn't it? In the sense of, I said this in a vlog just recently when I was saying that I want to go to America, that, we're not guaranteed tomorrow, are we? We're really not.
No, we're not. And my father has been my anchor in my life. He's like the man in my life. I can always call him, always ask him any question. And all of a sudden, when I get that phone, from my brother that he's been in an accident, they were on holiday, I just couldn't believe it. And the interesting thing was that we were at our cabin the weekend before, and I had this feeling that, what if this is the last time I see my father? And I went back, I drew away, and then I went back and gave him another hug, because I was like, I love you so much, Dad, because I knew they were going to South Africa, and I felt a bit uncomfortable with it because it was so far away, and they're around 60, 70 years old, soon 70. So I just had this weird feeling, and then it happened. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I couldn't wrap my mind around what might happen, that he might not survive. That was too hard. But I went down there and we sat by his bed every day, and it's been the toughest time of my life. I felt so weak, so vulnerable, so out of control, because it's just up to the universe. I don't have any control of this. Either he will die or he will survive, and I can't do anything. I can just pray and have positive thinking, and of course give him my love. So I sat by his bed and I sang a lot. I sang musicals like Les Miserables and everything. So everybody in the ICU heard me singing. So we had some beautiful moments, the family together. And there is no doubt that we love each other. So, and I think that was part of why he came back, that he became conscious. All the love we gave him, and that we said, you gotta fight, Dad, you gotta fight, come on, you gotta fight. There's so much to live for. And he started getting better. And now he's sort of stable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. None of this is easy stuff, and everyone's journey is so different, isn't it? No matter what we go through, it's nothing's the same, is it? Nothing's the same. Everything's unique in one sense, and you've gone through a very unique experience, and I hope by sharing what you share as well, that can help other people that are going through something similar maybe in their life right now, or when they do go through something similar, that they, that it just helps people.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing was I'm doing all these interviews, about life and death and speaking to so many wonderful people. But when I met the crisis myself, I wasn't sure what, technique or tool or whatever to use. I just felt this is so hard that it's not an easy fix. It's not that easy just to think positively, because one day you are strong, the other day you're not. And I was just letting myself be down sometimes, just crying and asking the universe why, I had to just let whatever come out, and just not trying to control it, because I was supposed to be like this or supposed to do like that. But I feel like now that I've definitely changed in many ways. I don't think like small things are so important anymore. I feel like I'm much slower in what I'm doing, like in a positive sense, because I'm a person who's very a control freak. I always think about the things I need to do. I'm very intellectual. And now I'm like, I had to cancel my live evening here in Oslo. Like, I had to say to 120 people that they couldn't come to my live evening. And because I had this live interview evenings in Oslo, and it was full house, and I had to cancel it. And that was a huge thing for me. And I was like, my dad is the most important thing. I put everything on hold, and I will find a new date. And then I said to the universe, just give me a perfect new date for that live evening. And the former me would have stressed a lot, like, oh, what if, all my guests can't come, and blah, blah, blah. And I just said that to the universe, and it landed yesterday, like, new date, 28th of August is a new date. And so I've learned to just be more, not slow, what's the word? Calm about things.
Yes.
It's
this
not
is a real lesson for you. This is, and as much as it is for the audience that we're sharing this with right now, that this is your lesson. As much as everything else, and that's so easy for me to sit here and say that, right? But I do say it with care, and I do say it with love, right? I'm not some cold person, right? But it is. That's so obvious to me that this is to help you break away from some patterns that you've got. Most definitely, it's a gift. See it as that.
Yes, and I do see it as that, and my family does as well. And now it's our time to take care of our dad instead of him taking care of everybody else.
Right.
So life is magical that way, in a way, and very intelligent. And also, I made this vlog on my Wisdom from North YouTube channel where I shared this experience, and I said, I just want to say, tell your loved ones that you love them, because I think that's so important, that you don't have anything unsaid. You can never say enough that you love people around you. No. Yeah.
And I listened I watched your vlog because I was shocked when I watched it, because I thought, I don't know what caused me to watch it. I was like, but I think I need to watch this, right? And when I watched it, I was shocked. But this, when these, for me, when these things happen in life, it's my truth, because ever since I started channeling, I've got my own truth now. I don't need any guests to tell me their truth, even though I enjoy that to happen. But I now really push people to find their own truth. That's all we're here to do, right? So, and again, I'm not pushing my truth on you. I'm just saying that things are a bit more obvious to me nowadays, and I just see when things like this happen, and they are awful in one sense, right? And that, but it's the learning that comes from it for the family, for dad, for everyone. And also, because you've got an audience as well to share this with, it's the learning that they get from it. I always say that when you go home, the taste of milk chocolate is just as important as major events like this. Everything's so important. I always say that, we're so brave to have come down here. Others have said that to me as well, but that's my truth as well. And, any situation is just so important. But, we can't get too wrapped up in where we're going to. Being here now is the most important. I think being my teachings, if anything, is the present moment right now is all that matters. That point of interest that we've got right now. And if we can make that the most happiest and most loving, then I think we've solved a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's more easy in a way when you are in a difficult time, like now with my dad. I have no idea how he will be tomorrow. So I can just have today, and I know I'm going to visit him today. And it really forces me to be in the moment. It really forces me. While a while ago, before this happened, I will always think ahead. I would always focus on everything I had to do because that was the most important thing in my life. That was my focus, all my tasks, all my interviews, this and that. And now that has changed. Like, I'm just as passionate about the interviews and my work, but it's like I'm much more present. Yeah, like I only have today, and I know that now. Like, I have an experience of it. I just don't know it intellectually. Like, yeah, you have to live today. Yeah, you have to be present. Now I'm actually feeling it much more. And I guess we need sometimes, it's sad to say, sometimes we need those hard experiences to really get that teaching,
We do, and we can't get addicted to other people's teaching as well. I mean, I know Eckhart Tolle has done some great work, and others have in the moment now. But I always say to people, or try to say nowadays, try to come up with what you feel right. I know we're using the words present moment because some other great teachers have used these words in their teachings. But what does it really mean to you? How practical is anything that anyone teaches you in the moment? How much does any teachings really help you in the moment? Now, I think that's what you have to ask yourself before you take on or get drawn into anyone else's truth or get obsessed with it in a sense.
Yeah.
I think every little bit helps, but it's still your own personal, unique journey on any road. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. And it still doesn't contradict, going outwards, doing interviews like we're doing, because I love getting perspectives from others. I love hearing about their stories, about all kind of mystical topics. I love it. As long as we don't take it, like you're saying, as our own truth, like grab the words and be like, okay, how can I live after that? But more take it as an inspiration.
Yeah, addictions can come into many forms. And there's all these words that are bantered around, aren't there? Starseed and all these other kind of words.
Yeah.
And none of it matters to me anymore now. If that's what you like and that's what helps you and that's what you love, that's your passion, go live it. But for me, I'm a bit more practical nowadays in the sense of, it's just about, I'm here now and I'm trying to make here and now the best and happiest it can be, and for the people around me as well. So how do I do that practically, and bring that down? And I think it comes down to love, doesn't it? That's one of the most fundamental things in any of the teachings or any of the people that have come my way. How much did you love in the moment today? Yourself as well included in that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And also, I mean, we have different experiences, and I believe that's my truth, that we're supposed to have different experiences. So for me to be like, try to go too much into, for instance, Anita Muriani and go totally into her teaching, or Eckhart Tolle, and like, I'm going to try to be like him in a way. I mean, you have to experience your experience and not judge it, because that's what you're supposed to experience, exactly what you are experiencing. And then, you're saying that you're concerned about love in the moment, etc. And that might change in a few years. Maybe then you have evolved or changed, and that,
so
then
true.
You're focusing on something else. So, and that's okay too.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, because well, aren't we always evolving? Aren't we always changing? It's okay to change our truth. I mean, that's one thing why religion never struck a chord with me, because to find the answers just in one book and one book alone, and never to be able to look at any other book because it's the work of the devil or whatever it may be termed as, that never really, God is love, God is amazing, but if you're gay, then you're going to go to hell. But God is love, God forgives everything. It never really just didn't work with me. Do you know what I mean? It just never really made logical sense and loving sense.
But I mean, it's funny, because it's not funny, but it's strange, because the Bible and everything, it's not an experience. It's not my experience. It's just a book with words. and words are so limited. So why should I make that the teaching of my experience? I mean, the Bible should be my experience, if you know what I mean.
Right.
We have every answer in ourselves.
No.
I think we have all the answers to the universe in ourselves, actually.
Oh, that's so true. You know, if you want to find the answers, you know, when I started channeling, and anybody can channel, it's just a word. I don't like the word. It's just another word for receiving, tuning in. You know, it's just a word, right? And like, as you just said, words are restrictive. You know, it's they don't mean, you know, you can only go so far with a word. To its logical end, but when I started to come up with my own answers by just tuning in, walking through a door, connecting with my higher self, my oversoul, whatever you want, my daemon, whatever you want to call it, I realized then that all answers lie within, and actually, you know, I don't need to go see a psychic, even though I've launched a psychic network. I don't need to go see anyone but myself. But it's always nice. I always find it nice, though, to go and have a reading with someone else. Not to push that I'm doing a psychic network, you know, sell, buy. But having had that experience in my life when readers do come on to be interviewed, I've always found it fascinating to hear what my soul's got to say to me from someone else's perspective. And if it rings true, I go with it. If it doesn't, bye-bye. It's not my truth. Yeah. So if you want to find the answers, I say go within. And another thing that's come from my channeling recently, or work that's come my way, is channeling or talking to your lower self, talking to your gut, talking to your subconscious, and how that gets ignored sometimes. And it's always just the higher self that wants the best for you, but there's also this other part of you that's not getting attention. And if you're not in sync with each other, one can have all these negative tapes to put the other off. So there's more to it than just speaking to the higher self as well.
Yes, and I think sometimes it's very difficult to separate what is what. And I'm just reading Anita Moriarty now. That's why I'm referring to her, because she has written a new book, and I'm going to interview her. I'm very excited about that. Good. And she was writing that sometimes you can benefit from having a detox, like information detox, because we get so much information that it's hard to actually listen to our guiding system. She's calling it the guiding system. Perfect. And I was like, word. Oh, I would love to try that. Like maybe go up to the cabin and just don't watch TV, don't do anything, and try to listen all the time to what's going on inside me. And I think there's a lot of noise there at first. But then try to see, okay, that's, you know, what you call maybe the subconscious, and that's maybe the higher self. And I think you can, after a time, listen or understand what is what. Because she's saying that the higher self would be like answers that makes you feel good, makes you feel joy, and you get the sensation that, oh, yeah, this clings so right. But I think you need to be sensitive, get that sensitivity to get there. So that is something I am working on, because I never sit down. But maybe now I will start to do that.
I think so. Do you know that? I think there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. I think just to get in contact with that part of you is a beautiful, beautiful thing, just as what you just said with the words that lady said as well. And it's a beautiful thing when you do, because it just wants the best for you. Now, some of us get in contact with that, and some people that will cross your path saying, I listened to my gut feeling. That's how I was successful, or what we term as success in this reality. But that's why I've always been been able to do the things I'm doing, Kev, because I've listened to my gut feeling. And I've realized that gut feeling is your soul. That gut feeling is the higher self. But then I have to say, as my works progress, and I say my work on myself, my truth, there is another part of us, which is this part that has all these tapes from past lives, the tapes of the vows of chastity, the vows of poverty, all these vows from past lives. I do feel they stay with us sometimes, and if we don't just communicate with them to say, look, I don't need you anymore, but I'd like to transform you and work with you and for us to work together, because I want these things out of life. That's just my truth right now, that I think it just helps that we don't ignore that side. Because I tell you why I say that, because I'm going to be going to America this year, and as much as I know it's all heartfelt and I'm meant to be doing it, you know, there is that side of me that's been putting me off, and I've had to really go deep within, and I'm still going to be doing this, go deep within, just to really make sure that that's not stopping me, you know. And I think that there is that side of us that these tapes are playing out. And when people say, well, yeah, but it takes a lifetime to transform, it doesn't. It can be instantaneous if you're ready for it.
Yeah. Some people say that it takes a lifetime, and others are like, yeah, no, it takes a second. You just have to make up your mind. And I guess that's true from one perspective. But I guess then you kind of, I mean, you can change, but I think it from another perspective is difficult as well if you just keep on doing what you have always been doing. So I'm not sure what I think about that.
Well, okay,
I haven't been able to change in a second, to be honest.
No, but I think, well, for me, okay, this is only just I found that you know, I've had a very quick change this year. I've got off all my addictions. That was that was tough. At the time when it was the toughest time for me, but I'm like, how did I do that? And I'm not Superman, I'm not nothing special, I'm the same as you. We are all equal. The only difference I think I made was a choice, and just doing it.
You know, I recognize myself in that, because I've always been addicted to, not addicted, well, pretty much addicted to, you know, sweet and low, like, what is it called? Aspartame, it's not sugar, but it's like fake sugar. What do you call it in English?
Yeah, it's like it's a sweetener kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, sweetener. Because when I was a teenager, I was dieting, and I'm not dieting anymore, but it's still there that I can't eat sugar or that much sugar. And I know it's very unhealthy, like Diet Coke and everything. And it's too much of it in my diet. So one day I was just like, it's enough. I'm going to stop. And I stopped at the day. And I got flashes all over my skin, especially here and here. And it wasn't a problem. But a few years ago, I would never be able to handle it. Like when people were saying to me, it's really dangerous, Jannecke, you have to stop. I was like, no, I can't. I need that because I'm so attached to it. And I feel comfort with it. Like my Pepsi Max in the evening, you know, I need it. But all of a sudden, I was ready, and I was wondering, why was I ready right now? Right. And so I think sometimes, yes, we know that what's the most healthy thing for us to do, but we're not ready to make that choice. But all of a sudden I was, and I was like, I'm going to stop. And I stopped, and it was easy. So that was very interesting.
Yeah. Yes, so you can do it. You can do it. It's when we're ready for it. It's when it's the right time as well, when we're ready for it.
I think so. I don't think we can push everything.
No.
It's the same with like, accept that, yeah, someday I will stop, but maybe not today. If there's too much going on in your life, you can't stop everything at once, you know. I think you have to... Be kind to yourself and have a little compassion and say to yourself, one day I will stop, you know, drinking or whatever, smoking, but maybe not today, but one day.
God. You know, living in Amsterdam where I am right now, I've quit smoking as well. And it was at the time when I'm launching the psychic service, it was the hardest time. And it wasn't just smoking, I quit so many things. But you know what? It's put me in a different energy field. I can say that to people. I'm now going to attract people on a different energy. An energy that I was looking for in the first place. An energy that my soul was looking for. But it was my choice whether I wanted to go with it or not. And now something different is going to appear. I think whenever you give something up, something else comes in. Better.
Yes. Yes, and I also think you have to replace it with something because, like for me, I've been so addicted to Diet Coke and everything. So what would I exchange it with? Because there's a lack of energy all of a sudden, and that's with like letting go of past boyfriends, etc., past patterns. You have to exchange it with something else because I think there's an energy that you let go, but then there's like a hole there. It's not a hole, but I think you have to replace it with another energy. So be like aware that maybe you can focus then on a new hobby or just something else that will replace that. I think that's beneficial.
I think that's so true. You know, there's so much we can talk about in this interview, and I know it's going to be a little bit all over the place, but that's cool. That's just how it's going to be because that's the way that I prefer to do it just right now. And of course, maybe I didn't say this off air, but I found it difficult to research some guests just recently because of time factors. But it's a beautiful thing. Everything is well in the moment. I was going to say to you, with your interviews that you've done, first of all, why do you do what you do?
Right. It's a long story, but I'll make it somewhat short. Well, I've been an actress since I was 7 years old in Norway, a musical theater actress. And then I lost my voice in the 20s. I got nodules on my voice and I got depressed. And I had troubles getting roles, of course, because I lost my voice. And all of a sudden, like this big dream about becoming a musical theater artist was being shattered. And I started studying to be a primary teacher. So I got that education done. And then I didn't feel completely inspired by being a teacher. Like, yeah, now I could get a secure job, but I was like, is this what I'm going to do? Like working with children? I don't know. It just didn't give me a kick. And then I remember I sat down actually with my dad on a cafe and I was like, yeah, Dad, I get great grades. I'm doing well in school, and but I'm not inspired by this. I don't think I'm going to want to be a teacher. And he was like, well, you don't have to be. Just finish the education and then see. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to finish it. But you know what I really want to do, Dad? I really want to interview people about the big questions of life. That would be awesome. And he was like, what? He didn't get it. Like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, on YouTube. Like many people do that. Oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, but that's what I'm going to do. Like, that's what I really want to do. Why don't I do it? And all of a sudden, it was just so clear for me. I had this moment of clarity. I was like, but my heart is saying that's what I want to do. Why don't I do it? And that day, like that moment, actually, I said goodbye to my father. I was just fired up and he didn't know what was going on. And I left him. I took on my jogging shoes and I was jogging and I was like, I'm going to make a YouTube channel. And then the name Wisdom from North just dropped into my mind. And I got equipment and I called up my friend who was an astrologer and I was like, do you want to be interviewed by me? And she was like, yeah, I'm just coming out with my stuff. And then I just put it on and I started interviewing more and more people. And I was just like, this is what I'm going to do. And I loved every minute of it. And I have been a person who starts things and I stop things and I start things. But Wisdom from North, I've been doing for 4.5 years. And it's just my baby. Like, it just feels so right. I love it.
Yeah. That's because it is right. And when you say you stopped and started things over previous years, that's only because, you just weren't supposed to be doing those things. You tried it out. You got to a point. I've done it as well. Many, many business things. I came over to Amsterdam to start a completely different business, right? And I never saw it through because I got to realize in the end, these aren't failures because I was so hard on myself. Like, I'd never see things through. People used to say that to me, Kev, you never see things through. Just see something through. It's always a failure in a sense. And I realized, no, you're wrong. It's not a failure. It's trying something out, getting to a point and realizing being in tune with yourself, it's not for you. But Wisdom from North was. And you've interviewed some amazing people. And, you've inspired so many people that you'll never know. Well, until you go home, maybe, and have a life review if such things exist as they say they do, then you'll know, right? But I think, we do this to be of service, don't we? And actually, I always say, I put myself first in one sense now in the interviews where, I probably don't do interviews like normal people do anymore because that would bore me to death if I didn't bring my truth into it. I remember when I first started out doing interviews, I was so timid, right? And I just were repeating the questions that I set out, and then I realized this is boring me to death. I'm going to sleep here in the interview in a minute. I need to bring myself into this.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes. I totally recognize what you're saying, and that's why I was just happy when you contacted me because you're doing the same. So we know a bit about this, and I'm curious about how it is for you. Because for me, I need to be curious about the person. I get so many emails with people asking me to interview them, and I'm not able to answer them all. But sometimes I just know, I'm going to interview her.
Right.
Because I'm so curious about her, you know?
This is where it gets interesting. Right. Now, what I like about you as well, and you know, I only get people on my show now that I really want to get on, not because of any ego crap or anything like that. It's I now realize that when you have an audience, or when you found your truth as well, try to represent that in the right way. Try to do the right things to show others an example, right? So I don't do any more conspiracy shows. They would bore me silly. I feel that conspiracy for me, and if I'm going to lose a few audience members for it, I'm so sorry, but you know, we've all gone through a different process, and I used to love conspiracy stuff. I used to love Alex Jones. I used to love all the... I still watch Alex Jones. Do you know that? Because I watch it from a perspective of, one day I'm going to have a studio like yours, and I'm going to do what you do, but the content, it's so very, very negative in a sense. For me, conspiracy is, one thing about it is, you know, there's never an answer. There's never an answer. It's you know, where is the answer in any of it, in one sense? Where spirituality or conscious-based subjects, there's always that answer, and really the answer is you. You want to see a change in the world, change your goddamn self. That ripples out to everyone. If you're not happy with your world, make yourself happy, or try to find the answers of why maybe deep down that the world is a reflection to you. So yeah. You know, I just, you know, I'm careful who I get on now. So I can imagine that you do get a lot of people contact you, and you've just got to, you know when some people are ready for an interview, and I bet you as well, you would interview people who don't have a book or don't have a business, but if they had something that was going to help people to share, yes, that's important.
Yes. Yes, and especially like near-death experiences. I'm very interested in that, like different near-death experiences. And also, yeah, about conspiracy theories, I've also steered away a little bit, because I actually had, how do you say it? I was really reflecting upon it. Should I do that? Should I do those kind of topics? But I didn't feel much joy, and like you, I felt we were just hanging there. We could never find, a solution, or never go anywhere. It was just a lot of questions, and it didn't bring me joy. It didn't bring me something I could use in my own life. It was just like intellectual fun in a way.
Intellectual masturbation, in a sense, where you could say, right? Yeah. And it's like, no, there's that. Look, it's, those audiences have big audiences sometimes, but I realized as well, it's not about the size of the audience, because one day, not too long, these shows that we do will have even bigger audiences, because what we're really doing is helping people awaken. That's what we're really doing.
Yeah, and find their own truth, like you're saying, their own truth. Yeah. I love that. I just totally love what you're saying, because that's what I want people to do as well. Get inspired in their own journey, in their own experience. And I've also noticed that when I do UFO interviews, that's very popular. And I'm still very interested in that, because I do feel a connection to the galactic. But I'm more interested in like the positive aspect of it. I don't want to go too in the darkness of it, because it's tricky, and sometimes it brings up a lot of fear in me. And you can say a lot about that too, that maybe I'm not owning my fear and stuff like that. But as of now, where I am,
I'm not going to.
I would love to speak to people who channels beautiful beings, who has teachings. That's something I can use, and that then I feel a connection. Don't want to go into the dark beings. Like, just get afraid. Why should I be more afraid?
That's so true. And yeah, I mean, the whole thing of the ET and bringing in the teaching information. In an infinite universe, and I can never get the idea of infinity in my tiny brain, right? That if this is a some sort of holographic playground, or some sort of simulated universe, then they're having the same experience as well, trying to find their truth. They're just maybe many eons beyond us, and maybe as well they recognize past lives. Maybe their shield around, what do they call it? The veil, sorry. Maybe their veil is a lot less, so they understand their connection back to source a lot greater. And maybe we're of vast importance to them, whoever they may be, because they see it as a spiritual, as we evolve spiritually, they evolve spiritually. Who knows? I see with the UFO field that this whole nuts and bolts research is going out the window. The older researchers aren't going to be there forever, but God bless them for what they've done. I just see a new consciousness angle to all this UFO work. But with any of this field, you always get the crazy people. You always get the people who will take advantage in this field. You always get the spiritual people who are in it for the money and not in it for the service as a first thing. And, you know, any field attracts cowboys. So, you know, I'm not naive to think that, you know, these things don't exist. But I tell you one thing I've found just recently, the most beautiful people crossing my path who just want to be of service, have awoken at a younger age as well, and just want to just help people so much, which is a completely different energy to what's been here before. And I support those people more than I do some of the ones that have are in it for the bigger calling. I'm sorry, but that's just where I'm coming from now. I don't know why I should say sorry, but there you go.
Yeah, and also I just had a thought in my mind that I think the more you focus on, you know, conspiracies, if you choose that, then you will attract more of that, and you can just end up going down the rabbit hole, like, and that's a choice. I don't think it's bad or wrong. It's just, do you want to go down there or do you want to go down there? And I guess I wanted to go another direction, and that's fine too. And then, you know, we will attract the audience that is right for us, and that's great too. I mean, I think the most important thing is, for me at least, is to be honest with who I am and be authentic with what I want to bring on the show. Because if I start to think about views and followers, then I don't respect myself anymore. So really want to be authentic.
You know, my ex-partner, many moons ago, back in 2014, that's how long I've been single, but that's okay, because I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed that space right now. I am really in a good place right now, I'll be honest with you. When I get into my new relationship, I will be such a better person for it, that old person that I was, you know, I'm so glad it's been transformed, right? But my ex-partner, she was a massive YouTuber, and she's getting on to 1 million subscribers right now. And it was always being around her, me trying so hard on these shows, and her views just going up and up and up. You know, it was a massive learning curve of acceptance and everything else.
It's challenging.
A challenging one, yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, but I realized in the end, when you're living your purpose, none of that stuff matters. None of that stuff matters, because you're in love with your life. You're in love with what you're doing. You're in love with helping people. You're in love with just the little things. So I would say to anyone, live. You know, if you're going to want to, you know, if you want happiness, first of all, try to find your purpose as well. That's an important thing. You'll always be tested. I'm not saying you won't be tested, but those things that we think are important sometimes are really not. But let me just bring this to something else as well. You know, one of the things that's doing in this field as well is the struggle with abundance, the struggle with money that a lot of us go through. Yeah, and I'm trying to, and I'm now saying to myself, we create our reality, don't we? Seth said that in all the teachings. And other information that's come through has said that we create this reality. So if we feel that way in this field, and I come through a few people who do, then actually we're creating that. And you know, I've said to myself, I don't need to create that anymore. I don't know what your experience of abundance has been like in this field.
Oh yeah, I can recognize myself in that, because as a child star, I felt like I got so much attention, so I got a bad conscience of that. Like, I got more attention than other kids. And that was difficult sometimes because I didn't know what to do with it. And I think that has influenced me in my adult life, that I have difficulty receiving, because I feel like I'm getting too much. You know, it's enough. Like my subconscious is saying I should be a starving actress in a way. Like, I still have that. So I really want to change that. And my brother, you know, he's so much better at it. My father as well. And I think it also has to do with being a man and a woman, but that's a huge topic. But sometimes we women don't have, we feel it's okay to struggle a little bit. And we have some issues about earning a lot of money. Like, is that service? And we're only a few years ago where I discovered that it's okay to have abundance. Like, intellectually, I understood it, that that's not greedy for me to wish for having money in my life. Money is just an energy. But subconsciously, I don't know if I've managed to change that yet. I'm definitely conscious of it now. Like, yeah, I can, I have this live evenings. I should have this amount for the ticket. Of course I
Right.
should. Yeah, it should
Good.
pay the rent for the house, but I'm also putting a lot of work. I'm working so much. So why shouldn't I get paid, Jannecke? Like, if you change it, all the work I'm doing, is that not worth anything, Jannecke? That's wrong too.
Exactly.
So I should pay
Exactly.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this. I believe you can give free content, but it's like right hook, then left hook, jab, bring back. I think you should be able to bring back to yourself, no doubt whatsoever. And that's kind of why I've launched my psychic service, because I've realized that I've given so much in the channel, and I give lots of free content. There's that I can bring some abundance for myself, not just for the readers and the people it's going to give readings to, but for myself as well. So I think when you come from the right space where everyone sort of wins, that's the right space to come from in business. Win-win for everyone, not just for yourself, but for everyone else as well. Because if you're not going to be of service in the work that you do, then it's only going to last so long, that kind of monetary income.
And you have to, value yourself, because like we're saying, like if you don't value yourself, maybe the universe will mirror that.
Oh yes, the universe just says yes, you're not worthy, yes, you're never going to have enough, or yes, you are lovable, yes, you are a multimillionaire, yes, you do have lots of abundance in your life, yes, you're wonderful, yes.
Yeah. So to come back to, like, that's a choice. Like, maybe we should choose to think like that, and that can happen in a second if you really believed it, but then you have all these old beliefs.
Right. As I was saying to you, that lower part of me that I'm channeling now, that's, as I say to people, that's where these tapes that's in your subconscious, that's where they are in your imagination, that's where they are. So just imagine it back out. Imagination is really powerful, I think. I think imagination is more underestimated than we think. I think imagination is part of the soul. I really do. And yeah. So
I think so too.
Yeah, just imagine something amazing and hold that. Do you know what? I can say law of attraction works. Do you know that? I really can, with the people that I've just attracted in my life these past few months. I haven't had much success with the law of attraction in money right now, but I'm working on that, because now I'm turning it round from what I was doing with the love aspect over to the money aspect. And I tell you what the key was. It was love all the time. When you have the love there, that's when law of attraction works. You've got to have the love aspect there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah, because a lot of people are just focusing on the thoughts or the visualization, and others are like the emotions, but the love.
You have to love what you're about to do. You have to love the person from a heartfelt perspective that you want to meet. You have to love that things that you want to attract into your life. You have to love yourself as well, if you want to, as well in that process, which is all difficult things to do sometimes. Another thing as well I just wanted to ask you as well is doing these interviews, it must have changed you so much from the person that you are now.
Yeah, I'm very interested in hearing if it has changed you, because I think it's a really difficult question. Because I don't remember myself that well when back in 2012. But people say that I've changed. And I guess I have. It's just difficult to pinpoint exactly what it is. But what I can definitely say is that I feel much more happy, more relaxed with my life. I'm less obsessed with becoming something, like less obsessed with status, because in Norway it's very much focus on status, like what you're doing. What kind of job do you have? Do you have a husband and a wife and kids and a big house and a car and a dog? I'm not thinking of those things in that sense, like I need to have that, so I have an answer when people ask. So I'm much more comfortable in myself, self-assured. I love myself more. Yeah, I guess I've changed. I have changed. Like I love myself and love my life much more now. I don't know if I've become more like in tune with the divine. And that was something I have been missing. And because I went to India in 2011, I tried to awaken. I've actually stepped a bit away from that need to awaken, because I really don't know what that means. But I just have settled in more like simple things, like that I'm happy. I'm more present. I appreciate things, and maybe my consciousness will start evolving much more in a few years. Maybe I will start meditating more. But for now, I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I feel okay with where I'm at right now.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. But let's just remind each other and the audience, we're not, we're not chanting 24/7. We have ups and downs. We can be just as good as we can be bad sometimes. I hope I'm not painting you a dark picture, but I'm just saying for myself, right? It's not always fantastic, but I think every day's better. I think I'm a better person. I'm sure you are every day. So what I'm saying is, what we see right now is not, the 24/7. This is just, a snippet of our life as we speak right now, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? This isn't the whole 24 hours of a day.
Yes, and I am very concerned with being authentic with my audience as well. Not trying to be more spiritual or be more evolved than I am, because that would be false too. And sometimes I felt like the need, or I felt a little bit not happy with where I was at. Because I felt like the audience was expecting that I had come further. And then I was like, oh, red flag, Jannecke. Now you're resisting where you're at. Like, you're not supposed to be anything. You're just supposed to be where you are right now. And just be honest with that. And people should just take it or leave it, but I have to be honest with where I am right now. That's why it feels so much freer. That's why I'm more happy now, because I'm just saying, this is where I'm at. This is how I'm thinking. This is my truth right now. And it can change tomorrow.
No, absolutely. And I think that's why people love you, because you are that. And that's a beautiful, and you're brave enough as well to come on to the bigger stage and be that. And what you were saying about where you were born with status and everything else, yeah, you probably chose to be where you are in that country to learn to heal that side, or to learn to become from a different perspective on that side. Just like when people are born in Asia, because I've been to Asia and I know what it's like. It's just like that. It's even more intense. And we incarnate on different places to have different experiences. I'm pretty sure that that's my truth right now, and it kind of feels right. What you were saying as well about, you went to India, you want to tune into the divine, you want that. All I can say to you is, imagination. When I lost everything and I started to channel, I almost felt like I was imagining this voice that was coming into my head. And I still do sometimes, but I have to say, even if it's imagination, it's the most loving, empowering, point of presence, happy, content kind of voice that can ever come through. It's almost like, you're in between that space of two lifetimes. Of if a soul has many lifetimes, you're in this space where it's this infinite space where all is known. But to get to there, you just imagine it. Just imagine a voice coming into your head and think of though you're making it up. What I do is I go through a door, and once I've gone through that door, then I've crossed over in a sense. I actually entered that door on this interview. So maybe I'm channeling some stuff in this interview. I don't normally do that in an interview, but I've actually closed my eyes at the beginning of this interview and went into that door.
That's nice.
And so I did mention how imagination is so important, and I still feel even if you feel you're imagining it, if it's coming from love, that's maybe something that you should. That's maybe what you're looking for, but that's just my way of doing it.
Yes, great. I've actually heard that too. That thoughts you get, you feel like they're your own thoughts, but then it's about talked about differentiating what is what. And I've actually felt ready this past month to start a course, because I interviewed a woman that I just really loved. And she gave me a reading, and I've gotten so many readings before, but for some reason I was like, I want to take her course. And that's over 3 semesters, so it's a long course. And we're going to learn how to read with our third eye, read ourselves, and read others. And I've been to so many courses in the 20s, not in my 20s, like workshops and everything. And then these past 4 years, I haven't attended that much because I wanted to find the truth like out there. I want to do the interviews out there. But now I feel I'm ready to go back to my own connection again and really start practicing reading my third eye. And I'm less skeptical now because I've been very skeptical as well. That's the contradiction inside me. It's interesting. I'm so open. At the same time, I'm quite skeptical.
But this is why you're doing your interviews, because this is part of your awakening journey. This was the only thing that was going to wake you up and get you out of your head, was to do this show. You do realize that, don't you? That this is your journey as much as it is for the audience.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely my journey as well. That's why I'm trying to be so authentic in it, because if I'm trying to make something up and control it, then it's not my journey anymore. So I have to do the journey. And now I feel it's right to do this course and really do it for a long time, because I'm acknowledging that, wow, Jannecke, you're getting answers. Like I asked through my third eye, when we were going back from South Africa, I was imagining talking to my dad, and I got an answer like in 2 weeks' time. And I was like, in 2 weeks? Are we leaving? I thought we were leaving sooner. 2 weeks? And it ended up being 2 weeks on the day. And I was like, Jannecke, this is working. You got to really develop this.
You've got it. You've got it. You've got it.
We all got it.
Yeah,
we all got it.
Every single one of us has got it. There's not one person that hasn't. Some are more finely tuned than others because they come with less of a veil for that particular gift they've got. Some, refused it in the first place so that they're in this lifetime not to have it, maybe for the effect of the others around them not to have it as well, so that they can live a life and live an experience of experiencing that. And some of us just need to remember that, that we are that powerful. We always give it away to some other guru or someone else, where actually all power lies within.
Yes. And we can use different words for it, like develop it. Well, but maybe it's not about developing. It's about just taking away what's taking place, or what's how do you say it in English?
Remembering it, maybe, as well.
Yes, remembering and removing clutter, removing stuff that we have accumulated in my 36 years old of thoughts and beliefs, just removing them and removing the veil so I can see the truth, so I can see the answer. It's right there all the time. It's just there's so much clutter there. So I can't listen, I can't see it. And maybe just teach yourself or train yourself to remove this more and more. But then again, it's difficult with words. But what I mean to say is that it's there. It's just we are not used to tapping into it because there's so much fuss.
Right. And I will say, when I'm talking about, the answers lie within, we don't need gurus. And look, I don't quite mean it like that. I mean, if it wasn't for people like Neale Donald Walsch or some others, they were part of my wake up process. I'm not saying they're perfect. I know if I asked Neale Donald Walsch right now, is he perfect? He would say no. And a lot of them would as well. And so would I say that about myself. But everyone plays a role. Everyone's got their unique gifts that they've here to share as well. But no one's this the great looked up upon kind of person, because that's just we're here having a human existence, and it's tough, isn't it? It's difficult. It's not always easy.
Oh, not at all. And I feel like the gurus or the teachers, they are the best gurus and teachers that I listen to. They are teaching us to find our own guru inside.
Yeah, the best. Yeah, and that's the message that comes from a lot of people nowadays that I'm coming across. And like I say, there's a younger generation of people coming in now with new gifts that are here to help the world, and I'm so grateful for that. There is a shift in awakening. There really is. There's a new paradigm of things coming in. That's what I feel. There's a new paradigm of awakening coming in. There really is. It's like the channelers. I mean, I'm doing a documentary this year, the sequel to the Tuning In film, the original Tuning In film of 2008. I'll be working with David Thomas and someone else, Marcella Robertson. She's the someone else. She's the other producer for the movie. And we're looking at doing this documentary from a whole different perspective, because a lot has changed. The times of, just, shutting your eyes, going under, taking on a personality, that's shifting. It's now self-responsibility where your higher self is coming through. You are the power all the way along. Yes, you may be connecting into a future aspect life of yourself, but not to take anything away from you, that it's still you. You are that powerful, and that you don't always need to take on a persona. But but for the younger generation of channelers, that persona's not there. It's gone. They're now fully consciously awake in the moment, channeling.
Yes, I believe so too. Yes. Yeah. I really hope so. I mean, I hope that that's where we're headed. And sometimes I doubt a little bit when I see what's going on in the world. And I'm wondering if my perspective is, I mean, of course, it's limited. It's just my perspective. But since I'm doing these interviews, I feel like there's a lot of awakening. But when I, travel, sometimes I see, wow, things are not good. Like in South Africa, it's really not good right now. With politics and everything, and I'm like, where are we headed? But I do feel like overall that there is a rise of consciousness. I do feel it, and I do hope it.
Yeah, I think there is. I think though that when we incarnate down here, I think we're so desperate for these opposites to be happening, all this cruelty, all this hardship. I think the soul craves for it. But in my channeling, it always tells me, but you don't. We humans always do it the most difficult way. If we're going to do it, we'll do it the most difficult way. And I guess I see that in what you're saying, in the politics and everything else. I remember Marianne Williamson, I think it was her, that said to me, we should, why do we ignore the suffering of people? And that's always stuck with me. That has that, I don't want to be ignoring people's suffering. I want to do something about it. And if my doing something about it is changing myself by doing this show, that's my little thing towards helping people. We can't change the world. I always keep coming to it. You can't, when you go to Africa, you can't change the world. You change it from within. That's the only way I think you can do it. By being the change that you want to see. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it pains me to see people suffering. It pains me, man. But, maybe it's not our job to go out there and try to change them. Maybe by showing a different path forward that can help other people change themselves. And maybe that can be some sort of ripple effect to in the end help the world.
Yeah, and some people, are supposed to do other things like being a doctor. I mean, I've got so much respect for doctors. Doctors was saving my dad's life. Of course, I believe it was other factors too, like the energy, the love, and everything. But also just so respectful for our different missions in life. And that's why, I mean, when I was young, I was like, I want to save the world, but I can't. And then I really got sad with the thought that I can't rescue everybody. Like as a child, we have these big thoughts, right? But as an adult, I understood that, well, I have to follow my heart and do that. That's my assignment. That's my mission. And others' missions are really to go into it, like being active, physically active, and do something. That's their purpose. And I think if everybody is listening and doing their purpose, then we can really move forward faster. I think the problem is that we're not listening. We're listening to the mind. I should do this, I should do that. But maybe we do it halfway because we're not totally into it. It's just we have bad conscience if we're not doing it, or we're doing it for the wrong purposes and for the wrong reasons. So I think, actually, I believe, that's my truth, that the creation is intelligent and perfect in that sense, that if we all followed our hearts, then things would be better. Say it very simplistic.
Yeah, they would be better. They wouldn't be, as I say, we just do it the hard way. I don't know if I believe in a world of ascension where everything just becomes peace and one. I think I would find that as a soul a pretty boring world. Just my own personal view on it. I think we need how do we know what hot feels like if we don't know what cold is?
Yes.
We are desperate to come here to have experiences. It seems to be that people take on roles to give us those experiences. It seems to be no matter what role you've taken on, even Hitler went to heaven. Yeah, it seems to be the case that that we all go back to the same place we came from. That place we go to it. Some call it home, some call it heaven. Personify it what you want. It's the place where our true nature is. Wherever consciousness is, or even in this moment where we speak right now, is it located in the brain, or is it's outside? Is it outside, right? These are the questions. But I really love what you've just said there. It's so powerful. It really is. And I think one thing we should say in this interview as well is it's okay to laugh at ourselves. It's okay to have a joke. It's okay to have fun. We're being very serious in this interview.
Super important.
Right.
Super, super important to laugh and joy. And joy, I think that's the spirit of the universe. I think we are the ones making everything so serious. Yes. Why should that be better than joy? I mean, why?
No, exactly. Exactly. That puts a smile on my face, that does. And there's so much we could have covered in this interview as well. I guess you don't know where your career is going to go, do you? Do you really?
Do you know where it's going to go?
Yeah, I'm manifesting. I'll be honest with you. I this ain't bragging. This is 6 years in the working of just having faith, just having blind faith to keep going, just having no money, having nothing sometimes, having life just crap all upon me and stuff, and just to keep going. But yesterday I had a phone call that will change my life forever now. And wow. And these things do happen, and I do believe it's not just going to be a phone call that will just go into the ether and dilute. I've kept putting my attentions that I want to go to the States, and I had this lady call me from Atlanta who's into TV producer and everything. And we've all heard the stories that I met this TV producer and all this, but this is the genuine case. And I just know that Oprah show that I wanted to do one day is that bit closer now. And you know what? On my journey, I always say to people, I'm not that person that wouldn't help people. If I've met people on my journey, I think it's important that we help each other, right? So I don't sit here with any egotisticness of, oh, look at me, look at where I'm going, it's so amazing and all this. No, it's about helping each other. It's about supporting each other, which is something that some people don't do. So I say this from a perspective of coming from that space, but I think that things are going to change. I do know where I'm going. I think I doubted it a lot, that I wasn't good enough to have that Oprah type of show, that I could never be big enough. And I realized that again, that it was one of those goddamn tapes playing. But it's funny when someone gives you the option for that tape changes, and I've not done much to change it. I've wanted to change it, but it's now, it's not there anymore, because now someone's offered us something. I'm like, but it's got to be there. But I'm like, no, it's not. It's gone. Go with it. Don't even question it. Just go with it. Keep going with it. You're better than that. So that would be my thing to you. So yes, I kind of maybe do know a little bit. I would. Awesome. I don't want to have a reading with anyone to say it's going to be this or that. I'm going to make my own reality up. It's much more interesting that way. But I give that empowerment back to you to say to you, you just don't know. Don't ever think that it's always going to be like this. Maybe what I could say to you is enjoy the calm before the storm.
Well, I have a feeling, an intuition that is telling me that it's just going like this, but I don't know how or how it's going to look like, but I'm definitely feeling like I'm building something. And it has evolved already with I'm doing talks and these live evenings. I've started filming them. And I guess I don't feel like I'm in a hurry, because I don't want to run away from my soul. Like, I'm going to be there. No, I have to be ready as well. So I actually like that my YouTube channel is not too big yet, because I want to be ready for it as well.
Yeah, that's so important.
For me, somehow I needed to take it slowly. I think I need to take things a bit slowly.
So now you hit on a good. I'm trying to end this interview. We keep hitting on such good things, right? That's a really good point. Not my time, but thy time. That's a really good point. Where there is actually, I've learned the hardest way ever this year. This is a major year. See what you've gone through there with your dad. This 2017 is a major goddamn year of complete ultimate highs and ultimate lows all the time. This train is like that right now, right? And it ain't stopping for those who are ready to accept it, yeah? And with this change, I think... yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You really did just that. I was just losing my train of thought as I talk about trains. I don't know why. It was, what was I going to say? That it was, timing. Timing is so important. And I'm learning that the hard way, that you can't go against that. So what you said there about your timing, that's so important that you recognize that and others recognize that. That is, it's all in the right time. Because if you did it too soon, it would be wrong for you and wrong for others.
Yeah.
But at the right time, that's when, and you'll know when that is.
Yeah, and that's surrendering to the universe, right?
Oh God, I hate doing that. I know. That's surrendering. You know, and it's it's so difficult. It's so difficult. But I did surrender. I surrendered on one of my vlogs, and I've got the video to prove it. I surrendered when I came to Amsterdam. I just said I surrender. I surrender everything. I surrender relationships. I surrender everything, and that changed my life. I think now, looking back at that, I think it did. I got to
interview you one day. I'm very curious about your journey.
Oh God, you know I've been told I've got to be less transparent.
No, I love it. I'd love to have you on my show.
Yes. For sure is the answer, for sure. And yeah, if there's any people that I think could fit on your show, I'd love to recommend them to you as well. I really would, and vice versa, because we're here to help each other.
Yes. Wonderful.
We're here to help each other. I've got a lot of love for you, and I will be watching you, and I will help you when I can do. I mean that. I will help you. If I'm in a situation of helping you one day, for sure, I will. And, you know, just keep doing what you're doing, because you don't know where it's leading, and that's a beautiful thing. Well, you do know where it's leading. It's leading to your ultimate happiness in the moment now. And you're just helping so many people, and you do a great job at interviewing people, I will say that. And just thank you for what you do. And I send my love to your family right now as well. Lots of love to your family.
Thank you so much. And I love your show too. And I loved speaking to you. You have a big heart. I totally sense that. Beautiful thoughts, and you're really authentic. And I think we are really resonating there. I feel the authenticity in you. It's a difficult word to say.
It's all good.
But I really appreciate that with your show and with you, that you are so honest and real. That's wonderful.
Well, Jannecke Øinæs, just thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It was a true honor. Thank you so much.
Well, we've come to an end on tonight's show. Don't forget that you can listen and watch all our past interviews on the More Show's official YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new daily shows. You may also find out more on our past and upcoming guests on the show via themoreshow.com, and do like us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates. So until next time, be safe.